A jazzy blazer does not a businesswoman make. Hello there, Calamity Tash, small business owner, here to give you some tips and tricks and everything you need to make social media in your small business rise to the top. Hello there. You're not a business bitch. You're a business bitch. What do you need to run a small business? Obviously, a jazzy blazer. But what else? I'm going to be talking today about social media and the importance of getting it right. So the first thing, and arguably the most important thing that we're going to talk about today is branding. Logos are so important. If you are someone who doesn't consider yourself to be particularly skilled in that area, please outsource. Here are some little tips and tricks that people often forget about when creating a logo. First of all, legibility. While you might have a really beautiful graphic image as a logo, you have to consider how that will look scaled down. Your logo needs to be clear and legible, both on an A4 piece of paper and as small as a 10-cent piece. Consider a letterhead, an envelope, a small sticker. What ways are you likely to use your logo? Remember that it will need to be legible. It's important to have your logo available in both color and black and white. Ask your graphic designer for a PDF, a PNG, and a JPEG file, all in color and black and white. If you're looking for a graphic designer and you don't quite have the funds to fork out, try looking for students. Check out your local Facebook. I'm sure that you'll be able to find local freelance groups that often have students or people offering free or discount logo services. So let's talk about you, your brand, and what you want to do with your business. Write it down, make a list. These things are really helpful to come back to 6 months down the line to realign your strategies and remember where you were headed. It's totally okay to veer off track. We all do it. The first question you need to ask yourself when starting any business is, who are you? Who are you? Who? Anyway, who are you? What is your business? What is it about? And what do you aim to deliver to the customer? Let's look at your competitors. We don't want to copy what they're doing, but we do want to know what is working and what isn't working. I don't mean your local small business competitors. I mean your goal business. Who are those huge high street brands that you aspire to be like? Look at their marketing campaigns. Look at the models that they use, the language that they use in their posts, what they link to and from. It can sometimes feel like you're fighting a losing battle, especially with social media algorithms that mean sometimes only 10% of your audience is seeing your post at all. From that 10%, let's imagine that 5% engage, 2% might comment, maybe 0.5% might actually follow through and buy a product. Those are the stats from one social media post. It is not your personal account. You are more than welcome to post the same post multiple times on social media. I don't mean post the same picture 12 times a day, but I do mean that maybe a couple of times a month you can reshare the same photo with different wording with the same call to action. What is a call to action? So we want our social media posts to create interest, to create traction. It's all good and well having pretty pictures that people might like, but the idea is that you want people to engage. Something really helpful to put in your comments is to ask a question of your audience or ask them to tag someone that they think might be interested in this. This is a really easy way to spread the algorithm and make it so that your post reaches more people. The question might be, what is the most fun you've had in isolation so far? Or you might relate it to your product. Let's say a purple pen. When was the last time you used a purple pen? It gets your audience thinking about their lives outside of that screen. It takes them away from that social media trance and puts them back in the real world. They have to think for a second. And if they think that their answer is funny or they'd like to engage with you, they will. The most important thing to do here is engage. An example, if some girl comes up to you in a club and says, "Oh my God, I love your dress," do you just give a heart eyes reaction? No, of course not. You say something. "Wow, thank you so much. I really like your shoes." The same principle applies to social media. If somebody is engaging on your posts and they've written a comment, reply to them. Even if you're just acknowledging their comment, it's really important that your customers feel seen and heard. It can sometimes be difficult when you feel that you have a perfect product and a wonderful business, but the customers aren't buying. That is a really relatable thing for a lot of small businesses, and certainly something that I've struggled with in the past myself. Finding your target audience and really locking into advertising to them is the best thing that you can do for this. This might be something as simple as a newsletter or maybe a Facebook group, but it's important that your customers find a way to connect to each other and to you. Having access to the analytics on your Instagram will help create a much clearer picture of your audience and how to target them. In this back end, you can see audience numbers, gender, location, and peak times of engagement. When thinking about our customer, let's think about which socials they might use. Is it Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest? You wouldn't market to a 12-year-old girl the same way you would market to a 25-year-old woman. It's important that you think about the voices that these people use. You want to relate to them, and you want them to relate to you. If we're looking at our customers, we might want to know what else they buy and where do they shop. Is it online, in person, at markets? Maybe there are other small businesses that you can team up with to cross-promote. It can sometimes be tricky to stay away from gimmicky social media techniques. Giveaways might be a quick way to gain followers, but not necessarily followers that will translate into sales. You are looking to collect customers and not just numbers. Remember that it is all about quality and not quantity. You can have 10,000 Instagram followers, but if 9,000 of those are not your target market, then you are still not reaching the correct audience. What is your voice? Voice! Voice. It's extremely important to have a consistent voice throughout all of your social media. Let's think about who's behind your social media. Is it you? Maybe it's a team of people. Maybe you want to allude to it being a team of people. Something as simple as using third person or terms like we and us insinuate that you've been more successful and that there's a team of people that run this business. What does your voice sound like? Are you friendly, bubbly, positive? Maybe you're a realist with a strong, socially political voice. Whatever it is, it's very important that you're consistent. Again, we want this to relate back to our brand values. What are our customers interested in? What are we interested in? What's important to us? Those are things that you want to make sure you include in your social media. Asking questions is another fantastic way to engage with your customer. You might ask what they've been up to, what they use their product for, or ask them to tag you in examples of them with your work. Content creation. So, you've chosen social media platforms that you're going to use. You know your customer and you've got a good idea of the kind of person you are targeting. Now what? Creating content. Content creators. Content creating. What is content? Everything. Everything is content. Maybe you're getting a slow start to the day and you're having a bowl of cereal in your studio. Take a unique photo of that cereal amongst some of your product shots. It's a really great way to champion your products while also making it clear that you're still a real person, you're still an individual, down to earth and relatable. There are many ways that you can incorporate your everyday life into your brand. People want to be able to relate to you. Remember that. Time management. Social media and time management can be really tricky, especially if you find yourself scrolling for hours and hours late at night, and that seems to be the only time that you have motivation to post. But everyone's asleep. Don't waste your time. I highly recommend apps like Schedulegram or Latergram. There's a whole host of scheduling apps that you can link up to your Instagram. You can create all of your posts, set them on a timer, sometimes up to a month in advance, and then just forget about them. That leaves you a lot more time to engage with comments rather than creating content and posts. I recommend making it a part of your routine to set out some social media time. Maybe you spend 6 hours at the beginning of the week planning your content. What will you post? What will the captions be? Have your list of hashtags all typed out and ready to copy and paste. Hashtags are on a time limit. So basically, if we tag something like love, which is a really common hashtag, the chances of our image being seen using the love hashtag are extremely low. If we tag it with something very specific, like Adelaide love, then we're going to have a much targeted, smaller audience that we are reaching. Consider your hashtags. Consider what your product is and what it relates to. While I might post a picture of a pen, I could still hashtag things like stationery, school, bullet journals, organisation. Finding the ideal time to post is also really important. Going back to Instagram analytics, this is something that you'll be able to clearly see in the back end there. It will show you what times of the day and week you get the most traction on your Instagram posts. Find that peak time and set all your scheduling apps to go live then. A routine is also really important. If your customers know that every Friday at 12 p.m. you're going to go live, you're more likely to create a stronger, more loyal following. Repetition is key. Think about every time you see an ad for Coca-Cola. Do you get annoyed? Do you roll your eyes and say, oh, another ad for Coca-Cola? I think as small businesses, we tend to think of our presence as annoying sometimes and like we're not worthy of promoting ourselves or nobody wants to see our work. And that's just not true. There's so many people out there who are not getting a chance to see your work because you're not posting regularly enough, using hashtags, cross-promoting, or because you don't have a clear idea of who that audience and who that customer is. So, to summarize my branding and social media tips, number 1, who are you? What is your brand? What are your values? What do you align with? What do you stand for? Make a plan. 2, what is your voice? What is your social media voice? What tone do you use? Do you use first person, third person? How do you describe yourself? And what are the interests of your company? 3, who is your audience? Create your customer profile. Who are they? What are their interests? Where and what do they shop for? Use this information to help target your social media directly to the people that you want to shop. Content creation. Everything is content. Don't forget to engage with every post, every comment, and every DM. I highly recommend reaching out and finding people who can support you in your small business venture. It can often be tiring and quite lonely, so please don't be afraid to ask for help and to be vulnerable. The more you share and engage with the community, the more that you might find that you are not as alone as you feel you are. I am always only ever an email away. So please leave a comment and let me know what kinds of things you guys would like me to cover. And remember, you're not a business bitch, you're a business bitch.